renewal of mind and reconfiguration of our thoughts that we are able to position ourselves to receive all the blessings that God has set aside for us. For it is not us who are waiting for the blessing, but rather the blessing that is waiting for us to be in the right frame of mind to receive it.
You family. I really do pray that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms, and may the perpetual protection and love of the Most High Creator and our ancestors be with you forever. We really want to give a special shout out to every single person that supports us on Patreon and sends us love donations through PayPal as well. We love you so much for enabling us to continue with the production of this show. And today I just really wanted to it's kind of an Ask Dr. Mumbi, but I just wanted to give a word of encouragement to those of us who are still recovering from childhood abuse, from spousal abuse, from just, narcissistic relationships, and from the witchery and sorcery and blood magic of sometimes it's been very close relatives. Sometimes it's been covens that have somehow gotten a target on us. But mainly is because you were chosen, you came here with a purpose and a reason, you carry a higher energetic frequency, you have more fuel in you, and they literally want to just waste your fuel and use your fuel to get their little material gains, basically. Of course, we acknowledge the ancestors in the wind, always with us. So this was just a message, because I know there's still a lot of you who are writing to me saying, now you've awakened, you realize that this family member or your spouse or your sibling or whatever the scenario is, that they've been the ones who have been, creating obstacles in your life, making sure you never prospered, stealing your dreams, stealing your destiny, and you really are still struggling. And a lot of you have been asking me, how do you get out of that? How do you escape? How do you finally cut that cord? And what I found, family, is that the one sure way to cut those cords, because we can energetically cut those cords, of course. I've done shows on that where you just literally see scissors cutting the cords between you and those who may be tapping into your life source, your sacral chakra, and trying to take energy. There's ways that you can release them by writing it on a piece of paper and burning it. There's so many different methods, by even speaking it. But still, if you're still struggling with that in your physical reality, what do you do? The one thing I can say, family, is change direction. Change direction in your life. Because what I find is that the life you're living right now, they've monitored it, they've dissected it, you told them all about it as well, and they've literally created every block they can based on the variables they have of you, which is the life that you've created with them, the dreams and aspirations that you shared with them, and maybe you even shared how you wanted to achieve that. So they've blocked all of that off. But you're not limited to all of that. You can literally ask your spiritual team, which I want to now start calling our spiritual family, because that's what really they are. You can now start asking your spiritual family, how do you change direction? Because once you change direction, family, then the residue of their attacks, the residue of their ability to monitor and penetrate your life, either in a dream level, on an astral level, will totally stop, because they no longer know what you're up to. And before you do this, it's very important to ask nature to make you invisible. And I mean, for people who don't get this, you probably will have no idea what I'm talking about, and just keep it moving, because this is definitely then not for you. But for you who know, you can ask. You can enter the ocean and ask the ocean to give you that cloak of invisibility. You can pray to your ancestors. I mean, they don't really like us praying. They like us more to commune and tell us what we need. And tell them what we need. But the one thing that really set me free, family, was when I changed my signature, was when I changed direction. I'm still on the same goal. I'm still on my assignment, my spiritual assignment of awakening people. But now I'm just doing it in a different way. Before I talked to my family about how I wanted to do music, and I got deep into reggae family. I had a band, I had all kinds of things. Did shows, but I overshared. And so a lot of those things were delayed. They became so difficult to achieve, so difficult to realize. They messed with my mind about whether I was even able to or capable of achieving or what I wanted to achieve. And suddenly the Great Spirit just took me in a totally different direction, which is how I ended up on YouTube. I had not really thought of talk show vibes or this kind of, creating a platform. But I'm still achieving my objective. And I've been able to now really cut the cords. Because a lot of them harvest your successes. Where when your success is just about to come, they steal it. I can get into that in a future episode if but for the basics, just think like they steal it, and your pain and not going through, your anguish at failing is what they now use as fuel to perpetuate, to move them forward. And at the same time, they can go to their covens and say, yo, we stopped a chosen one's plans doing this and that, and they get their little rewards. And that's why I always say, family, when you want to escape a narcissist, when you want to escape toxic family, when you want to escape toxic coven members, witches, wizards, warlocks in your bloodline, in your family, in your friend group, whatever, in your spouse, you have to move in silence. You literally even have to stay off the mental plane, which is why our ancestors are moving with us in that way, where they just download and they tell you you're moving. And then within 48 hours, you've relocated. That's why they tell us last minute, but that's why we have to work on that connection, knowing us that they're perpetually leading us in the right direction. Because every time I've done a change of direction, it has set me free from one layer of witchery and spell work and all of that. But I've actually found, in retrospect, that it has actually, I was right on time and it was exactly where I needed to go. But when you change direction, it becomes much harder for their monitoring spirits to come to you. It becomes much harder for them to astral travel into your dream state and create havoc. Because they're trying to create havoc for something that doesn't exist anymore. When you change direction, it's literally like you move. You jump from one timeline to another. You jump from one narrative where they'd already written the conclusion. You'd already told them how you saw that narrative going, and they put all these traps and everything because of your kind heart, all these booby traps in your mind, in your narrative, so that it wouldn't go that way and it'd end up in sorrow, loss, pain. Because remember, they are spiritual beings that actually feed on our pain, our sorrow, our anguish. And I'm telling you, when that comes from a chosen one, apparently it's even more delicious. So they've already got this narrative mapped out of how they're going to stop you, how they're going to delay you, how they're going to obstruct you. So create a different narrative, family. Create a different narrative for yourself. Do so in silence. Ask the Great Spirit. Ask the Most High. Ask your spiritual family to reveal to you an alternative narrative, an alternative route to your destination. Because it's not just the one path that you saw that will lead you to where you need to go. There are other paths. And you don't need to be on another path forever, but maybe just temporarily, as the enemy of your soul is defeated, confused and defeated and removed from your life. Because sometimes in order to change our lives, we have to move from the familiar. Because the familiar is the manifestation of our narrative. and can interfere with what we're trying to create in a new. So most of the time you will have to relocate physically. Sometimes it can just be from one house to another, one apartment to another. At the most basic, maybe one room to another. But there has to be a shift, and then you move in a new direction. There's a Sikh saying that says there's many ways to skin a cat or something, terrible saying, or whatever that saying is. But there are multiple pathways to your enlightenment, to your destination. You're not limited to what you feel you have to do. There's many ways it can come out, and you achieve the same thing. It may require you shifting to a different career, or it may require you just moving in that destiny path in a different way that will still get you where you need to go. But all of this you have to do in silence, family. Share less to experience more. And changing direction just basically means changing narratives. Change your story. And a lot of that comes from healing, reflection, accepting what happened to you, and moving on. But if you're still stuck, family, and you feel like there's no way out, stop going straight and maybe take a left at the next crossroads. With, of course, the guidance and love and protection of your spiritual team. Tuko pamoja.
Hear a clarion call. It's time to rise and shine. Time to get what's mine, yeah. And I want it all, beyond the riches of the world, to the promises of God for my life.